Open your eyes. When did we become a plastic society? We got plastic bags, plastic water bottles, plastic straws, plastic cups, plastic wrap, plastic utensils, and plastic to-go containers. Plastic is a substance the earth cannot digest, and every bit of plastic that has ever been created still exists. Every day in the United States, we throw out almost 88,000 tons of plastic. Now, what happens to plastic after you use it? Well, most of it goes into landfills. A portion gets into the water course and eventually ends up in the oceans. Recycling is not a sustainable solution. It's actually called downcycling because plastic never goes away. Consumption of disposable plastics has spiraled out of control. What is the number one thing plastic is made out of? Well, every year we use 17 million barrels of oil to make plastic water bottles. This is enough to fuel 1 million cars every year. Plastic pieces on the ocean's surface now outnumber sea life 6 to 1. Plastic makes up almost 90% of all trash floating on the ocean's surface, 46,000 pieces of plastic per square mile. What effect does plastic have on human health? Plastic chemicals like BPA are absorbed by the body. Studies show that they alter hormones and disrupt the endocrine system. By refusing disposable plastic, you can improve the health of the ocean and the environment around us, including human health and animal health. Since 2009, Plastic Pollution Coalition has been building a global alliance to combat single-use disposable plastic. Our membership includes individuals, organizations, NGOs, businesses, campuses, and policymakers. We share resources, tools, and messaging with our coalition to develop a broad-based strategy to tackle the issue head-on. We're working with universities, businesses, festivals, musicians, and more to create replicable and sustainable approaches to eliminating single-use disposable plastic. Plastic pollution is a global problem that humans alone have caused. We can do something about it. Please join our coalition. For more information, visit www.plasticpollutioncoalition.org. Remember, bring reusable items with you, like a water bottle, a cup, a bag, utensils. Refuse plastic when it's offered. And remember to say, "No straw, please." Only purchase items in sustainable packaging, like glass and wax paper.
I'm Dianna Cohen, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Plastic Pollution Coalition. Obviously, I'm totally honored to be talking with you guys, and I feel a little out of my league because I am not a scientist. I'm a visual artist who started out college as a biology major, but only studied biology for 2 years. So I'm just gonna bow to everybody on in this group and let you know I'm not a scientist, but I have been making artwork out of plastic bags that I cut up and sew back together for almost 30 years. So I've had a lot of experience with the material in this funny way that now I'm actually a bit concerned that I've been touching it for so long. And working with a hot glue gun, it's pretty crazy. Anyway, hazards for artists, but it's my great honor to just talk about the work that we do at Plastic Pollution Coalition and to contribute to this part of the conversation about plastic and petroleum and toxins and poison, basically, by sharing with you our perspective and how we come into this issue. So Plastic Pollution Coalition has grown a lot. The video we just shared with you, I cringe at a couple little parts of it. I don't think that plastic or single-use plastic have ever been disposable. And we do use that language in it, and it could probably stand an update at some point because I don't think of plastic as a disposable material. I think of it as a valuable material, which we use for many, many things in packaging and for many of our food and beverages and beauty supplies and medical products, as a material that is valuable and that we use when we design with it in a highly irresponsible way. And I'm using kind of a royal we for that. But what I'd like to talk to you guys about is, you know, as we've grown, we've had many more businesses join us, and we're now over 1,200 groups. So, and about 50%, just over 50% are businesses. So businesses and organizations around the world who are all coming at how do we solve this issue? And they're coming at it from different perspectives. And one of the things I've really come to learn in the last few years, by also helping create the Break Free from Plastic movement globally, is that plastic pollution is not only a global crisis, but plastic is an issue that impacts our health through the entire chain. So from extraction of fossil fuels and petroleum to begin to create the plastics, through manufacturing and production, through use, and then instantly it's a waste management issue. And a lot of that is buried in the environment or dumped somewhere or ends up in waterways or the ocean or lakes, or it's incinerated. And it's incinerated under all these different names like waste to energy and waste to fuel, which sound really great, but basically much plastic is just geared in a direction to be burnt up. And when we burn it, we also create particulate pollution and we pollute ourselves. So our use and our dependence on plastics, but specifically single-use plastics, is we are poisoning ourselves by using this material in the way that we use it. And I also wanted to mention that, and I don't know if you guys talk about this that much with green science policy, but this is also an issue, and our use of plastic, our dependence on this material, disproportionately impacts lower income communities around the world and across the United States. So it is, again, toxic, but to these frontline, fence line communities. And I've seen it with my own eyes. I had a very eye-opening experience when I participated in a toxic tour on the Gulf Coast 2 years ago that was put together by Tejas. And that was very interesting for me and eye-opening, and to meet locals and activists who are in the community on the Gulf Coast, dealing with the issue firsthand, was just, it was eye-opening, and it was really upsetting, and it hit me, you know, in my heart, because I think that many more affluent countries or cities or towns just think of something as being a way. They think of that we when we're done using these materials, they are recycled or they go away from us, and we don't have to address them or think about them anymore. But there is no away, and we now see that that away is the front yard and the backyard of many other communities around the world, which
4-minute warning.
Pardon?
4-minute warning, darling.
Oh, thank you. And the other thing that that we look at and that we work to communicate within and beyond our coalition is to help people and help, I'm going to say laymen, because I feel like for me as an artist and also as a person with an interest in science, but it not being really my background, we spend a lot of time advocating and creating guides and trying to connect people who may not understand something when it's so easy for, I'm going to say us or scientists basically to go in the weeds with things. I mean, I find it fascinating, but I'm a total nerd about stuff like this. So, you know, it's how do we translate this and how do we communicate it to laymen, to the general public in a way that helps them grasp this. And I would say, I feel like, Arlene, you guys did it really well, particularly with that piece that came out that was the cover of the New York Times Magazine about PFAS and what was in our furniture. I think that that was really a turning point that I saw from a public perspective. So I just also want to mention the health impacts of our use of this material and why it's so personally important to me. My mom died of breast cancer when she was in her early 40s, and the type of breast cancer she had was estrogen receptive. When you're a teenager, that doesn't mean anything to you, but as you get older and you come to realize, and I've come to understand this subject better, you realize that the chemicals that are used in plastic are endocrine disruptors. They impact our endocrine system, and they are like synthetic estrogen. They function in that way. And so it directly is connected to, and has been connected to, breast cancer, brain cancer, prostate cancer. But additionally to these chemicals, phthalates and bisphenols, let alone flame retardants, have been related to, hypothyroid disease, to diabetes, to obesity, to lower sexual function, sterility, and infertility. I made a presentation in front of the Glass Institute, Glass Policy Institute, and I said, where have you guys been? The train is moving through the station. Hello, Glass, where are you?
1 minute warning.
This has been related to lower sexual function. Come on, guys. It was a room full of men, mainly white men. And I was like, wake up, sounding the alarm. So I guess I say all of that to you, and I'm looking forward to our breakout sessions and to helping brainstorm in any way I can to make this connection. And the last thing I would say is our use of plastic is directly connected to climate change. Again, this whole production chain that I just described, in manufacturing chain and end-of-life waste management, directly contributes to greenhouse gases and global warming. So these materials are all interconnected, and I believe that as we begin to figure out how to better communicate that to the public, we are going to continue to see the momentum that we currently see now, which is a move away from these materials. So I'm very excited about that.